I heard playful laughter. So, someone wanted me to turn up the volume on the music. I did. A little bit hard to think and read and stuff with the sound on because I feel like I'm too low, you know. I was just in pain yesterday. I was at the doctor's office with my mom, and they gave me painkillers that was really strong, so I had to be with an adult that could take care of me when I take them because I could be dizzy, I could fall over if I was standing, I couldn't go upstairs, I couldn't go downstairs, I couldn't go much at all. I had to sit mostly. So I was playing some Overwatch, there's an event, want those skins? So that's what I've been doing. Today I was at the dentist. So yesterday doctor, today dentist. With my mom there too. And after that, I got home to my mom, and finally, me and my brother. My brother he's studying in another part of Norway, but he has been home 2-3 weeks now because he's gonna celebrate Christmas here and New Year's, by the way, and then he's going back to study. Um, my brother is 19, by the way. He was 19 December 6th. That's when he got 19 years old. Um, he was actually home then. So he has been home for like 3 weeks. Because it's like, what date is it today? 16. So he has been home for at least 10 days. I think he got home like in the beginning of December actually. So he's been here for 2 weeks. Yep. Anyway, so my mom is in love with Hugh Jackman, and she hasn't seen The Greatest Showman. Me and my brother has, and my mom was like, "Do you guys have any good Netflix movies I can watch?" And my brother was looking at me and was like, "Should I?" And I was like, "Yeah." So he took his computer, the TV cable, put it into his computer, because if you don't know, The Greatest Showman isn't on Netflix, but it's on Disney Plus, and my brother has Disney Plus. So we got my mom to finally watch The Greatest Showman after bugging her for like a year now, or actually 1.5, maybe 2. From when I watched it with my ex-girlfriend, which is almost like, yeah, I think it's like 2 years ago now. And finally I got her to watch it. And she was like, now was seeing him sing, Hugh Jackman, seeing him sing and dance, she was like, now I'm even more in love with him. But yeah, we almost left, where did we left? Yes, right here. Thanks, she smiled. That was completely unexpected, and I lost touch with reality staring at her. What? Lena turned awkward in an instant. Listen, I've been wondering, do you like this? I don't know what got into me, but I grabbed that magazine from the table and showed her that picture of a skirt and a cardigan, which would really suit Lena, in my opinion. Maybe I went completely nuts thinking about all the girls being in my world. Or maybe I wanted to distract myself instead of just waiting for the nurse to come back. Lena looked at the picture. Yes, I guess. Is stuff like this in fashion? I guess? She got confused and started blushing. Why do you ask? Really? Why? I think you look gorgeous in it. Thank you. It's alright, I'm just being completely honest. We were quiet for some time. Why didn't she blush and look away when I said gorgeous? Or was like, why wasn't she like that? How is your headache? Much better, thank you. She smiled. I'll be off. Good luck. Lena went out and I continued to look through the magazine. After a while, somebody knocked at the door again. Seems that the infirmary is the most popular place to go. Suddenly I decided to roleplay a nurse, just the male version, and said, Come in. The door opened and Juliana entered the room. Wow, did I miss the moment when you decided to start knocking? Anything wrong with me knocking? She frowned. Where does it hurt? Why on earth would I tell you? Where is the nurse? Right in front of you. I imposingly crossed my legs and looked questioningly at her. I better go. It'd be better to die than be treated by you. She smiled mischievously. You didn't even let me try. Juliana thought for a moment. Though you could give me some pills. What's bothering you? It took her some time to reply. A heavy stomach. Sure it's not an empty head? Thrum. I muttered under my breath. What did you say? Nothing. Give me a second. I found the pills in the first drawer I opened. Thank you, doctor. She doesn't have a heavy stomach. She's just faking it. She just wants drugs. Like pills is actually drugs. Have you ever thought about that? Pills that you get from the doctor or nurse's office, wherever you get them, it's drugs. Literally. She smiled cheerfully. Watching Juliana, I could not imagine how such an optimistic and active child could have any health problems. Got food poisoning from the canteen? Considering the local cuisine, it's not that surprising. Maybe? She smirked. I see you're still alive and kicking. Well, I'm not complaining. Bye. Bye? Juliana ran out of the infirmary, slamming the door. Again, I went back to studying Soviet fashion trends. Time passed, but the nurse was still absent. I wasn't searching for Shurik. Oh yeah, that's right, he's missing, by the way. If you haven't seen the last episode, he got missing. Wasn't looking for any clues concerning my situation. I was just sitting and flipping through a magazine. Just for a moment, I felt quite satisfied with this situation. So far, everything that has happened here could be seen as just a trip to a summer camp, and if nothing changes anytime soon, then I can start worrying. Again, somebody knocked on the door. Did I miss the outbreak of an epidemic? No, you missed the outbreak of a pandemic. Oh my god, I got it. Slavia was standing at the doorway. Oh hi, isn't the nurse here? Excuse me, I got dizzy for a second. No, I haven't taken the pills today. Hi, no, she's not here. I'm taking over for today. Great. She hesitated. What? By the way, Semyon, Slavia said and looked intently at me. What? It seems like I lost my keys. Have you seen them anywhere? Sure I have. Yes, here, I found them near the canteen yesterday. I wanted to return them to you, but forgot about it. I was really bad at lying. My cheeks were red, my eyes were wandering around, and hands were constantly shaking. Here. I was already preparing myself for an appropriate scolding, but Slavia only took the keys and said, Thanks. So what have you come for? I really needed to change the subject. Does anything hurt? No, it's nothing. Strange. I wouldn't even think that such an open person as Slavia would keep something quiet. She's so cute though, look at that. Look at her. If there's something bothering you, tell me. That's why I'm here, to treat people. I smiled wildly. No, I mean yes, but no. Hearing that made anything possible, even division by 0. So how can I help you? You? I guess you can't. She smiled and was going to leave but suddenly stopped. However, could you step out for a minute? Why not? Okay. Oop. I stepped out of the infirmary and leaned against the wall. I wonder what might she be doing, something that I can't even see. After a minute, the door opened and Slavia came out. She was carrying a small bundle. Ask about the bundle. What is it? Nothing. She blushed. Thank you. You're welcome. Slavia ran away. Seems like I should have asked. Should I have asked? Should I go back? But what? Everyone would ask, like, what is it? She's like, nothing, and she blushes and then she runs. It's not her to steal, so I don't know what she did, but... I looked at the time. It was getting late. I read the magazine backwards and forwards, but the nurse still wasn't here. Suddenly the door burst open and Alicia rushed inside. Just kicking the door open. Suddenly the door burst open and Elisa rushed inside. She looked at me piercingly. What are you doing here? Sitting? Obviously. I admitted honestly. Okay then. It's even better without a nurse, she murmured. Are you sick? I asked acidly. Elisa didn't answer and came closer to me. Move over. Why? So I can open the drawer, isn't it obvious? What for? She got angry. None of your business. Well, I'm kinda in charge here. She gave it a moment's thought. Then gave me some activated carbon. Stomachache? Yeah. She grinned sharply. Nope. I got the feeling there was something wrong here. Do not! Do not give Elisa the activated carbon. She's probably gonna make a bomb. Really, a stomachache? Really? Doesn't seem so. What, do I have to toss my lunch all over the place for you to believe me? I don't know what terrible things can be done with activated carbon, but I'm sure you will think of something. Bomb! You know, boom. She hesitated. And what if you're right? There, I knew it. Then I'm certainly not giving you anything. Okay. Elisa tried to get to the drawers, but I blocked the pillbox with my chest like Alexander Matusov. Alexander Matusov was a Soviet infantry soldier during Great Patriotic War, posthumously awarded the title of the Hero of the Soviet Union for blocking German machine gun with his chest. Really? He was literally blocking German machine gun with his chest. But wouldn't that go right through you because it's such powerful? Maybe not. But yeah, that is brave. For all her impudence, she was still just a girl and she had no chance of pushing me aside. There's actually a Norwegian guy. There's actually a place up in the forest near here where I live. There is a stone that is a very special stone because that's where a Norwegian guy was standing and got shot in the chest like 8 times or something from the Germans under Second World War. So that's pretty cool. So it's a very sacred stone, you could say. And he was still alive. Cannot forget that. But he died either in the ambulance or when he got to the hospital. He died because they couldn't save him in time. Bleeding out, you know. Or, I guess it wasn't really ambulance. What? I think it was a helicopter. He got picked up in a helicopter. No, the German would shoot down the helicopter. I don't know, but he died on the way to the hospital or in the hospital. I don't remember. But there's a story here. So it's a nice place to live, but also kind of boring. Whatever, I'll find it somewhere else. She turned away and headed to the exit. I got an email. That is actually kind of important. I just have to check that real quick. No, it isn't important. Never mind. I'm waiting for something. Actually, no, I'm not. I got the email before I started recording. Never mind. I got a Christmas present on the email. Well, early Christmas present, I guess, because you have to open it now. Or else you won't be able to open it. So I downloaded it. So yeah, at the door, Elisa stopped and looked back. By the way, the camp leader and the nurse are carrying a pioneer with a broken leg. I really don't care, but they seem to be struggling. Shurik, maybe? Yeah, sure. Come see for yourself. Elisa seemed to be lying, but on the other hand, as long as I could see her, I came to the door and looked outside. No one was there. Where exactly? They haven't reached here yet then? She made a helpless gesture. Have fun. I returned to the table and only then realized that one of the drawers was open. Yep. How did she make it so quick? I turned my back for just a second. Though what evil can come from activated carbon? Kaboom. That's the evil. It was 50 minutes till dinner and the nurse still wasn't back. I guess just leaving the place like this won't do. She asked me to look after it after all. And who knows what might happen if I leave. No, who would want to steal anything from here? Except for Elisa stealing activated carbon. I opened the magazine again and began flipping through it for the nth time. The fashion of the 80s weren't that fun anymore. Yawning got me several times. It was already 6 o'clock, so dinner has already started. Of course, I had to be on the watch till the end, but my stomach seemed to have its own opinion on the matter. I stood up and steadily headed to the exit. A rustling sound came from behind the door. Could it be someone else who got poisoned, broke their arm, or something even worse? I sighed heavily and pulled the doorknob. However, there was no one out there. Seems it was just my imagination. I returned inside and instantly noticed that something had changed in the infirmary. To be precise, an apple had appeared on the table. Right there. That wasn't there before. But where from? Fruits can't just materialize from thin air by themselves, can they? Though in this camp, anything is possible. Yeah. Chances are someone just brought it here. Maybe Lena wanted to thank me, given that she's all shy and... But wait, how could you just slip past me like that? Lena wouldn't climb through the window after all. So there must be something else. I was suddenly overwhelmed by fear. What if the apple is poison? Eliza could actually go through the window to get there and like poison it or something, but Juliana could also do that. Though why would someone complicate things when I'm here totally helpless and can be killed way more easily? Or it might be the apple which Eve tasted in the Garden of Eden. That is in the Old Testament, dude. In that case, I certainly shouldn't eat it. The same second my stomach reminded me it was there by rumbling traders. However, it would take time to close the infirmary, to reach the canteen, to get food. My stomach is about to eat itself. There's nothing wrong, I guess. Once again, I tried to remember if this apple was here before. In the end, it must have appeared from somewhere. Maybe it got hit through the window. The shutter was slightly open, so someone must have reached in and put it there. Put it here. However, nothing serious, however. Dude, I can't eat the apple. That is gonna kill me. But what if I eat it? And I get to see the cat girl. For those who want to eat the apple, do my choices, get to this point, and eat the apple for yourself. Everlasting Summer is the name of the game. Find it on Steam. It's free. Download it. Play it. But you have to do the same choices so far to get to this. So nothing's changed. But I'm not gonna eat it. No. Even assuming that this is a normal apple, in any case, I shouldn't eat unwashed fruits. I mean, you could just wash it. Just like that, I found a reason for my fear and put the apple away. It was time to go for dinner. Along the way, I ran into electronic. How is it going? Did you find Shurik? No, still no sign of him. Don't worry, we'll find him. I tried to cheer him up. Too much time has passed. I'll just keep on searching. What about dinner? No, finding Shurik is more important. They were brothers, right? I think. Or maybe they're like just best friends. I don't remember. I think they talked about being brothers in an earlier episode. I'm not sure. He muttered thoughtfully. I left him at the crossroads and wished him good luck. Pioneers crowded in the doorway. I'm just gonna save. Because last time I had to go through all the things myself. Pioneers crowded in the doorway. I quickened my pace, trying not to be the last one in the line, at least for today. And I was lucky. In the far corner was an absolutely empty table. I took my dinner quickly and sat at the table. Tonight's dinner consisted of fruit soup and a pair of buns. This set surprised me at first, but the taste was actually nice. I concentrated on eating. Oh, Miki! Lena, let's go here. Look, 3 free chairs. Lena and Miki stood in front of me. Are these taken? Wondered Lena. No, take a seat. Of course, I wish she were alone. Why? I wish Miki was alone. Thank you. Okay. She could just leave. As soon as Lena said that, Xenia jumped out from behind her back. I'll sit here. There are no places left, she said, putting her tray on the table and sitting down, not even waiting for my answer. Sure, make yourself at home, I muttered sorrowfully. What? Nothing. To tell the truth, I wanted to reduce the whole company to just Lena, though neither Mika nor Xenia were causing much trouble. Except one was too talkative, and the other was too arrogant. Arrogant, talkative, quiet and shy. And a guy who thinks too much. What a what a nice group of friends. Very different from each other. But nevertheless, they were absolutely harmless, especially compared to some others I could name. Oh, seems like I forgot my key. Don't worry, take mine. I was surprised by Mika's short reply. Are they sharing a room? Do you live together? Of course, didn't you know? Together. Our cabin is the rearmost. I mean the farthest from here. I mean the last one. I wouldn't have been surprised if someone had told me that Lena lived with Slavia, or with Xenia at worst. Even electronic. I don't think you just live with Olga because Olga is the boss. I don't think girls and boys have the same room, so. But silent and shy. Also, electronic is obviously with Shurik. But silent and shy Lena and excessively talkative Mika as a pair, that's really a surprise. That's what I said. A little something along the lines. Did you find Shurik? It's strange that Senya is disturbed by someone's problems. No. Surely he is at the village buying cigarettes or vodka. Vodka is a Russian thing, so I get it. Yeah, it's a Russian game, by the way. She snorted. Village? At that moment, the conversation got much more interesting. Got a problem with villages? Xenia looked amazed. You mean there's a village nearby? I think so, she said uncertainly. I looked at Lena and Miki, but they were busy with their meals and did not pay attention to our conversation. You mean you don't know exactly? Why should I care? Xenia stared at her dish. But there must be something nearby. Listen. Listening. I don't know. Will you let me eat? Seems like I won't get anything from her. Though there is a chance that she really doesn't know. Maybe we should ask electronic, like, do Shurik smoke or drink vodka, maybe? The remaining time was spent listening to Miki talking about some nonsense. I was just going slowly mad in silence. Come on, she's adorable, gorgeous, beautiful, sexy. Obviously, the first thing I did after getting out after that was inhale a great breath of fresh air. The sun was setting. I decided to take a walk. It's highly unlikely that I will find anything more exciting to do for the rest of the evening. That way something interesting could arise quite unexpectedly. I was approaching the square when I heard a loud bang. It seemed like something had exploded. I was paralyzed. It's Elisa. I am in a hostile environment, not knowing the rules and laws of this place. It would be better for me to run, but at the same time I was curious. Probably I would have just kept standing there, but somebody grabbed my hand. It was Olga Dmitrievna. Why are you standing here? Let's go and see what happened. Can't you ever manage without me? I begged her pitifully. It shouldn't be anything serious, I hope. It has to be the carbon thing. Whoops. When we came to the square, there was already a crowd of pioneers. Olga Dmitrievna vigorously pushed through the crowd and approached the crime scene. Obviously, someone had tried to blow up Genda. But the attackers failed. The monument was still standing upright. There were only dim ash traces on the pedestal. Well, who did this? She looked over the crowd of pioneers. Surely it wasn't done by an organized terrorist organization. These guys all came here just to look at what happened. I noticed Uliana and Elisa in the crowd, and it looks like our camp leader noticed them too. You two, come here. They approached reluctantly. Why always me? If you think so. Show me your hands, Dwashevskaya. What's wrong with them? I looked closer and saw that they were smeared with black. Now it's clear. What did you make a bomb with? The junior terrorist seemed to hesitate over whether or not to confess, but then blurted out proudly, activated carbon petter, and sulfur. Wait a minute. Carbon? Carbon that she stole from the first aid kit? Why exactly the monument? What did this honored man ever do to you? The fighter for the rights of... I could hardly imagine how long she would have kept on scolding Elisa if Electronic hadn't popped out at that very moment shouting, I found it! I found it! Everyone turned towards him. He held a boot in his hand. Here. Electronic boastfully shook it over his head. It's Shurik's boot. Okay, calm down. Tell us in detail where you found it. In the forest. On the way to the old camp. Whispers ran among the pioneers. Old camp? The old camp? Are you sure? Absolutely. What's so special about this old camp? I joined in the conversation. It's nothing special, really. She stammered. One of the Sovyanok's legends tells the story of a young camp leader's ghost living there. She fell in love with a pioneer, but he rejected her, and so she killed herself. She committed harakiri with a kitchen knife. Next day, that boy was hit by a bus. Okay, I probably shouldn't laugh at this, but hit by a bus, like right after. Okay. Juliana ran out of the crowd. Bus? I refrained from asking about the route number. But science doesn't acknowledge the existence of ghosts, so you have nothing to be afraid of. Anyway, somebody should go there. Suddenly the crowd started to thin out. Olga Dimitrievna, it's almost night. Maybe tomorrow. I turned around and saw Slavia and Olena. What if at night something happens to him? No, today, right now. By the way, where is this place? Electronic roughly described to me the directions and told me the story of the old camp. The camp leader looked at me attentively. If you think that you're the only man here. What Electronic? I mean, I'm a teenager right now. Electronic. He's a good guy, come on. I looked around the area. Of course, Electronic was quick to flee. That's why. I mean, come on, you should help your friend or brother or whatever. I still didn't want to walk in the woods alone. If you ask me, I would. Why can I not go with Mika? Damn it! I mean, remember we had dance with Lena, so I feel like I should go with Slavia. Will she agree? I looked at Slavia. She paid no attention to me. Looks like it's not my day. Am I going there alone? Olga Dmitrievna looked thoughtful. Perhaps you're right. We'll go together tomorrow morning. You just said no, today, right now. We stood in silence for some time, then dispersed around the camp. Everybody seemingly forgot about Elisa and her terrorist act, maybe due to the minor damage it caused. Together with the camp leader, I went towards our cabin. I tried to think of why Shurik would go to the old camp. He is interested in robots and cybernetics, not scary stories and ghosts. How do we know? What does that boot have to do with that? I remember how I decided to wait until... Wait. What does that boot have to do with that? I remember how I decided to wait until something extraordinary would happen. And then I realized, this is it. Olga Dmitrievna, I think I'll take a walk before bed. Just not a long one. Okay. When I reached the square, I understood that hanging around in the forest or some other strange place may not be that scary. But doing so in the dark? I didn't want to return to Olga Dmitrievna's cabin, but I had to find a flashlight. I mean, he's missing a boot, though. If he didn't care about his boot, why would he go without one boot? Boot. Why? But I had to find a flashlight, blah, blah, blah. I did say that, right? Yes, I didn't want to return to Olga Dmitrievna's cabin, but I had to find a flashlight. For instance, there was one in the infirmary. I was glad I didn't spend my whole time there reading the fashion magazine. The flash was found quickly, and in a few minutes I was again standing at the square, pulling myself together. I just had to make the final decision before I entered the forest. Moving past the pioneers' cabins down the forest path towards the abandoned camp, I set forth. An electronic told me that the old building was built immediately after the war. It looked like a kindergarten, or like a barracks, I expected, and definitely could hold fewer pioneers than today's camp. It had been abandoned for about 20 years. I was thinking, should I do a cliffhanger? But now I'm getting even more hyped. It was now totally dark. The forest looked totally different at night. Mysterious shadows were hiding behind the trees, strange rustlings and the cries of night birds coming from everywhere, branches treacherously snapping under my feet. The full moon was shining, so I decided to save the battery in the flashlight. I'm sure I will need it sometime soon. The further I moved, the more unpleasant thoughts came into my head. I wasn't afraid of the dark at all. I didn't believe in ghosts and other mystical crap. But at the same time, during the last few days, I'd encountered so many incomprehensible phenomena that against my own will I started to read between the lines of the simplest things. Obviously, I felt exceptionally uneasy in the forest at night. Everywhere I looked, every shadow, every tree or bush looked like weird creatures escaping straight from horror movies or from Stephen King novels. A branch seemed to be someone's hand eager to grab his shoulder. A fallen log, someone's dead body, someone who failed to get out of the forest. In every gully I saw a bottomless abyss. If I had found myself in this forest under any other circumstances, without all these buses and pioneer camps, of course I would still feel uncomfortable, but then I would be able to explain everything with logic and be afraid of nothing except for owls and mice, of course. But at the moment, there were more than enough reason to fear. Can you just go and just shut up? Despite all this, I reached the old camp without any adventures. Old camp? This isn't the camp. In a little glade surrounded by trees stood a house resembling a kindergarten. Paint peeled off the walls, almost all the windows were broken masonry here and there, holes in the roof that looked like those made by bombing. In front of the building was a little garden surrounded by a rusty fence. Apparently once it was a playground with a merry-go-round, swinging slides, and other Soviet attractions. Okay, merry-go-round is that Soviet. But time is cruel. All of them were broken and mutilated by corrosion. The grass was so tall that it almost came up to my waist. The moon looked out from behind the clouds and illuminated the old camp. It seemed like everything came back to life. Windows, shone with new glass, and walls looked like they'd been painted with fresh paint. I heard playful laughter. I didn't know I was playing a horror game. I heard a playful laughter. Saw translucent children joyfully running and frolicking in the yard. A strict camp leader on the threshold holding a basket with ripe apples in her hands. The old cleaning lady taking a nap in the shade. Why did I click the wrong button? I don't know. It sent chills down my spine. Of course my imagination was just playing tricks, but the old camp itself was so similar to all the post-apocalyptic pictures I had seen that these visions were no surprise. I stood undecided for a long time before I dared to go further. After all, I'm here to find Shurik, though I still don't get what he might be doing here, if he even is here. A boot somewhere nearby doesn't mean anything. However, if he was not eaten by wolves for some reason, it seemed like there were no wolves in this forest, this must be the only place where he might be hiding. How do you know if there's not wolves in the forest? Wolves doesn't go to a human and eat them. Some people do think that, but no. The wolves run away from you. If you walk with a dog, on the other hand, then it might attack, because they want the dog. I carefully crossed the yard, pushing the tall grass apart and trying not to bump into a jagged piece of metal. But I stopped in the doorway, hesitating. An impenetrable heavy darkness stared back at me from inside. Even the bright moonlight could not illuminate any objects, or even highlight a silhouette. My head was filled up with different thoughts that all said that it's better for me to not go any further and run away quickly. But I pulled myself together, turned on the flashlight, and stepped over the threshold. Inside the building looked like a typical kindergarten. Actually, it kind of looked like the kindergarten I went to when I was little, except the doorway here. If it was just a wall there, and also a staircase down here instead of a door there. It looks like a door. If it would have been a staircase down there and a staircase up, that would be a wall here and a wall here. It would be just like the kindergarten I went to. Well, except that it looked like it's about to fall apart. I still remember my childhood days, and so everything here looked very familiar. Yeah, like my kindergarten. Sleeping room with lines of beds standing close to each other, a large playroom, toilets, a dining room, and utility rooms. Signs of the past children's joy were seen everywhere. From time to time, the flashlight drew my attention to a decaying doll, or a plastic toy car, or a punctured rubber ball, or a broken rank of tin soldiers. If you get away, it's a decaying doll there. It will follow you and kill you. There was a book on the table, faded with age. I flipped through a few pages. It was a story I had read a long time ago, back in my childhood. Something about the war. Enemies destroyed the kindergarten, and all of its kids hid in a little basement together with a bunch of adults while bombs were exploding up on the surface. I don't remember the end of the story, but as far as I remember, nobody died. Looking at the illustrations, all the emotions, fear, sadness, sympathy for the poor children, and the sense of hopelessness which I had experienced while reading this book came over me. It's strange that under exactly these conditions, right here and now, that I found this book. Probably there is somebody who managed this ongoing story, who writes the scenario for this absurd play, who sews costume for the local pioneers and creates sets like this abandoned camp. To tell the truth, he's very talented. Attention is paid to even the most minor of details. Although this place was abandoned a long time ago, everything here seemed to be untouched. Of course, time didn't spare this camp. In so many years, it had often been visited by the locals. A perfect place for excuse me, a perfect place for young people just hitting puberty. They could drink alcohol, indulge in amorous pleasures, or simply burn everything down just for fun. Electronic mentioned this place is full of legends. Legends of ghosts and devils living here. Take, for example, the story about the camp leader who committed suicide. Can we just go on? In my world, nobody would believe that this could stop somebody. But in this reality, anything is possible. Certainly, the fear didn't disappear, but I decided that since I'd come here, I was going to carry on to the end. The building was small, so it wasn't difficult to search it completely. But I didn't find any sign of Shurik. Maybe I should just call out to him? But on the other hand, maybe that's not such a good idea. Frustrated, I sat on the bench in the lobby and decided. Ghosts, where are you? I asked the camp. And all of a sudden, I noticed a strange depression in the corner. A small trapdoor. An adult would barely be able to squeeze through it. And it seemed to me that it had been recently opened, and the dust was cleared around it. And so here's the part where I need to be scared. So Shurik went somewhere. What might be lurking beneath the trapdoor? A basement? What would he be doing there? That scared me. I pulled open the hatch and pointed the flashlight into the darkness. There was a ladder going down a couple of meters, ending in a concrete floor. It was a low, narrow corridor, disappearing in the darkness. I hesitated for a long time. On the one hand, I had absolutely no desire to go down there, but on the other hand, if Shurik was really there, I swore loudly and began to descend. Should I cliffhanger here? I want to continue a little bit more. Downstairs, it was so dark that even the flashlight didn't help much. A low ceiling, wires extending along the walls, broken lamps clad in iron bars. Jesus fucking Christ! I got scared of the picture, oh my god! I've all seen it all somewhere. I slowly started to move deeper into the dungeon. The path went down and after a few dozen meters ended at the stairway with high steps. Soon I found myself in front of a massive metal door. There was a sign painted on it. I looked closely and realized that it was a biohazard sign. No wonder if the old camp was built after the war and it lasted until the 70s. So it's an ordinary bomb shelter and there is nothing to be afraid of. However, Those thoughts made me even more scared. I made a decision and opened the door, which immediately shut with a sharp sound as soon as I stepped through the doorway. I shuddered strongly, my hands began to tremble, and my vision dimmed. I regained consciousness after a few seconds, and only then did I realize that apparently a strong spring was attached to the door. I found myself in a quite spacious room. In the beam of the flashlight, I could see a bunk bed, some cabinets along the walls, and several devices of unknown purpose located in the far corner. It seems that this bomb shelter has never been used. Really? It looks pretty dirty and used to me. Nobody ever came here. The beds were made, which is strange in itself. I carefully looked around the room several times. The cabinets were filled with gas masks, chemical protective suits, dry rations, various domestic odds and ends. The devices, which I at first could determine the purpose of, were gauges of radiation, air pressure, and temperature. In short, it was a typical bomb shelter. I'd never been in such a place before, but it was how I'd imagined it. The only thing that remained unexplored was the door at the other end of the room. I pulled the handle, but the door remained closed. If someone reasonably came down here and he wasn't found in this room, then it would be logical to assume that he is behind this door. I called out in a whisper. Shurik! No reply. Maybe he locked himself out. But why? It was unclear what I should do next. Perhaps it would be smarter to come back tomorrow with help, but for some reason I had a feeling that behind this door I would find answers that can't wait to be found. I have an itch in my butt. I walked across the room and took a crowbar from the corner. I wedged it under the bottom of the door and tried to rip it from its hinges. Oddly enough, after a while, I did just that. Fortunately, it wasn't as massive as the previous door. The door gave out and slammed onto the floor. I took a deep breath and pointed the flashlight down the passage. A corridor vanished in the darkness, the same as the one on which brought me here. The walls were closing in. My head almost touched the ceiling, but I could not make out the end of the corridor. I walked carefully, looking at the ground. This was the reason that I did not fall into the pit. Alright. So anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I gotta stop on the cliffhanger there, because he's thinking too much and talking shit. But yeah, maybe we find Shurik later in the next episode, or maybe we don't. Maybe he's dead. Maybe we die. Maybe someone comes and rescues us. I mean, I wanted to go with Slavia, but well. Anyway, maybe it's a good thing we didn't walk with Slavia, because that wouldn't be as exciting, and it wouldn't be. I mean, it wouldn't be as exciting to go with Slavia, because now it's very like scary and exciting. And also, Slavia would probably stop us, be like, I don't think we should do this. We should go back. So I'm glad I went alone. But also not, because I want Slavia here. But anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Yeah. I hope I'll see you next episode, so we can find out what this floor is hiding. So anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you later.